Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to discuss the current conflict that I'm having with my American Express Gold Card. So for anyone who frequently watches my channel, you know that I call my American Express Gold Card my workhorse card, meaning that it is the card that gets the most use in my wallet. This is a card that I find to be a really good card that gives you 4x back on dining, 4x back on groceries, 3x back on flights, and then 1x back on all other purchases. But even with all the positives that I can say about the American Express Gold Card, I have been having some doubts that I am going to be keeping this card forever. I've been doing some spring cleaning and looking over my finances and checking over the different annual fee cards that I currently have. And with the cards that I have to see how much value I'm getting from those cards. And with this, I look at something like the American Express Gold Card, see that this card costs me $250 a year, which is going to be about medium level for when it comes to annual fees. You have $95 being on the lower side, and then you have $400 plus being on the higher side. So although this card does have that $250 annual fee, most people already probably know that you end up getting yourself two different credits connected with the American Express Gold Card, being $120 for a dining credit. This ends up being connected with a number of different restaurants and also Grubhub. I just tell everyone to do Grubhub because it opens up to significantly more restaurants in your area. And then also you end up getting yourself a $120 Uber credit. This can be used for either Uber rides or Uber Eats. Now, if you were to grab the value of both of these credits, you're gonna be getting yourself $240 in value, which if you end up putting that towards the annual fee, that only brings the annual fee at costing you $10. Now, I feel that pretty much anyone would trade $10 to have themselves the American Express Gold Card. But the thing about it is even though you are getting yourself $240 in credits, the way that the credits are giving to you is not as easy as just $240 flat outright. You get $10 a month for that dining credit, and then you also get yourself $10 a month towards that Uber credit. Now, some people may value these credits at the fullest because they use them to the fullest every single month, but the reason why I say you should bring them down, especially since they are monthly credits, is because you wouldn't trade $120 of cash for a $120 Uber gift card. That would just be a bad deal because not only can you use the cash any other way you want, you can also end up using that cash just to make Uber purchases. So although you may end up getting yourself $240 in value if you end up using these credits to the fullest, you should also ask yourself the question of how much would you be willing to pay cash out of pocket for these specific credits. Now, when you have these credits and you break them into being monthly credits, it brings down the value to being even less because chances are you're gonna be spending more with that service as compared to if you just got all of this credit as one lump sum. For example, if I could get myself $120 in a Grubhub credit, I'd probably end up using it for like one special occasion with a bunch of friends at a get together and just end up buying a bunch of food for that party, and that'd probably end up being maybe the only time I would use Grubhub throughout the entire year. But with the credit being broken up into monthly credits, I'm forced to use Grubhub 12 times throughout the year to get the full value of this benefit. And chances are when I buy something each month from Grubhub, I'm gonna be spending more than $10 on that item because I've yet to spend only $10 on an item that I purchased through Grubhub, which means that every additional dollar that I spend for that item is just gonna be more money that Grubhub is getting from me that I wouldn't have been spending with Grubhub if I didn't already have this credit from American Express. And not only am I spending additional money with Grubhub because of the credit, but I'm also spending additional money with Grubhub because Grubhub has a upcharge on the items that you're buying through them. Whether you are getting it delivered to you or you decide to go pick it up like how I do, Grubhub is going to be charging somewhere between 10 to 20% additional as compared to what that item normally costs. If you were to get yourself a meal on Grubhub that you've gotten before without Grubhub that normally costs like either 12 or 15 bucks, well, through Grubhub, it might end up costing you somewhere along the lines of like 14 or 18 bucks. Now, not every item on Grubhub is significantly more expensive as compared to what you'd be getting at the restaurant, but even if it's just slightly, that's still less money in your pocket. One thing that we don't want to have happen is changing our spending habits with our credit cards for the worse. This is exactly what the banks want because every single time we swipe our credit cards, the banks make money off of the interchange fees. So they want us to use our credit cards as much as possible. But if we are seeking to try to get a lot of points from using our credit cards, well, all the additional spend is going to end up possibly negating all the value of the rewards that we were seeking. So knowing this information, we should value these credits at less than the face value. Now, I value the Uber credit more because I use Uber as a service a lot more than I ever would use Grubhub as a service if I didn't happen to have these credits. I live in the city of Los Angeles and I use rideshare services, I would say somewhat frequently. I won't say that I use Uber every single month, but I'll say that I'll use it more months on than I do off. And the months that I don't see myself using Uber, I do end up using Uber Eats, and I always end up finding that 40 or 50% off your order after you end up spending $25. Now this is only for deliveries, but I've done the math, and when I end up taking advantage of this deal when it is around, it ends up costing me less to have it delivered to me than it would be me going there and picking it up myself. Now this promotion isn't always going on, but I tend to have an alert from Uber Eats maybe once every other month or every month giving me this 40 or 50% off my delivery. So because I know that I am going to be using rideshare services and I can get myself this good deal with this promotion every few times a year that I do end up using Uber Eats, I value the Uber credit throughout the entire year instead of being at $120 at about $100. Now the dining credit I value less because Grubhub isn't a service that I would use if I didn't happen to have the American Express Gold Card. And while having to use the dining credit with Grubhub is more annoying, there are many restaurants that I dine at that are connected with Grubhub. So because of this, I would say that I still value this credit at being at about $90 as compared to $120 that they give you. So adding up both of what I value these credits to be, I have it being at about $190, and with the annual fee being at $250, that means that I'm paying $60 each year to have the American Express Gold Card. Now these are just my numbers. I have friends that I know who use food delivery services at least one time per week, so they probably can see themselves getting closer to full value from these services. Also for me, the way that I like to look at it is that since I see myself at being negative $60 with the American Express Gold Card, I have to be making more than 6,000 points on top of what I'd be making on any other 3X card that could give me this in dining and in groceries. Now I like to keep it simple and put the value on my points here at being 1 cent per point, even though I know that and I typically do redeem my membership reward points at a far greater value than that. But this is just the way that I like to do it, so I tell myself that I need to get myself more than $60 at a cash out rate because the base level value that I ever cash out any of my points would be at 1 cent per point. So to earn 6,000 points with my American Express Gold Card, I would only have to spend $1,500 at 4X categories. This is something that everyone is going to do unless they have their parents paying for all of their food. But as I said earlier, I can't just earn 6,000 points and see it as being a positive because I have to also take into consideration other easy to use cards that can earn me 3X back on dining and on groceries. And the card that I would see as a great alternative would be something like the Capital One Savor One card. So if I wanted to compare the Capital One Savor One card to the American Express Gold Card, the first thing you have to look at is the value of these credits that you put it at. So if people see the values being full credits, you'd only need to spend $1,000 to get yourself positive value with the American Express Gold Card over the Savor One card. But if you take down the value of these credits like how I am, if I'm doing simple math and I value the cash back that you get from the Capital One along with the membership reward points at being 1 cent per point, then I have to spend about $6,000 with the American Express Gold Card for it to be considered positive value over the Capital One Savor One card. Now, although the Capital One Savor One card does earn cash back, if you happen to have one of the venture cards, such as like the Capital One Venture X card, you can grab that cash back, transfer it over to being venture miles at 1 cent per mile. I spend between $400 to $500 each month on my normal dining habits, whether it be at the grocery store or at restaurants. But then also I go out to bars with friends, that gives me 4X. I also will have dates that can give me 4X, plus different events that can end up being at places that categorize as a 4X as well. And funny enough, when I track my spending on my American Express Gold Card for last year, I spent just about $6,000. So I will say that last year, I do feel that I got myself more value from my American Express Gold Card than I would have gotten if I happened to have the Savor One card. Now, there are other cards I could get myself even more value for, but ended up being more of a hassle, such as getting myself multiple Citi custom cash cards, or using the Chase Ink card to get myself gift cards and using that for all of my dining and grocery purchases. Although I am a fan of getting gift cards with something like the Ink Cash card, I usually like to use those things immediately, and I'm trying to create less of a hassle, and I feel like they're gonna end up being more of a hassle if I need to use these gift cards for all my dining and grocery purchases. Now, I currently have the Venture X card along with a Quicksilver card that I only use to get myself free Uber One, but right now, Capital One is not letting me product change this Quicksilver card to getting a Savor One card. Capital One's product change system is kind of weird where sometimes they will let you product change to the cards that you want, other times they won't let you product change to weird cards that you don't want, and then sometimes they won't let you product change this card at all. But when I get the opportunity to, I will product change my Quicksilver card over to being a Savor One card. So at the moment, I'm at 424, which means that I've gotten 4 personal credit cards over the last 24 months. So I possibly could apply for the Savor One card, but I wouldn't want to do that to get only the $200 bonus. I'd rather just product change to it instead and keep myself under 524. Positive things about having the Savor One card is, not only would I not have to worry about these monthly credits, But when I travel overseas, I know that I'll be able to use this card at restaurants. Plus, there's no annual fee on the SavorOne card. So this makes me really want to get the SavorOne card, but I still can't fully commit to canceling out my gold card if I got the SavorOne card. So the first reason is that although I don't spend an enormous amount on my American Express gold card, even if I only spend $6,000 on my American Express gold card, that still ends up being 24,000 points that I'm going to be earning as compared to only earning 18,000 points if I had the SavorOne card. And even though for simple math, I put it at being 1 cent per point for earnings, I know that I'm getting myself more value than that when I am redeeming my membership reward points. I'd rather have the American Express Gold Card where I owe $250 as an annual fee. I get $240 in credits that I value at being at about $190, putting me $60 in the negative, but having those 24,000 points as compared to only having 18,000 points that I'd be earning with the Capital One SavorOne card with no annual fee. I know that there are people who will look at 24,000 points and not think of it as being that much, but if you took advantage of a transfer bonus to one of the Avios programs, it happens to be either 25 or 30% as a transfer bonus, you could almost be at a business class flight over to Madrid from the East Coast of the US. I've booked business class on Iberia before, and I think that is a steal of a deal. So while many people might think that 6,000 points isn't that big of a difference, well, I see it as being just that much closer to get myself a business class flight over to Europe. Another reason why I'd want to use the gold card over the SavorOne card is that I value membership reward points higher than I do venture miles. Now I know that there's many people out there who may look at the two programs and see, well, they're both transferable currencies and they have many of the same transfer partners, so I'm not sure why you would value these points much higher than the other points. The reason is because what I've noticed from American Express is that when it comes to transfer bonuses, they have them more consistently than any other program. And I value transfer bonuses very, very highly. Now, Capital One hasn't had transfer partners for very long, and if you look at the history of their transfer bonuses, you notice that they just kind of began to get into the transfer bonus game. But if you look at the history of American Express when it comes to their transfer bonuses, not only have they had them more frequently than other programs, but they've also had the higher rate of a transfer bonus for all the other programs that are major banks. Bilt Rewards does have more than them, but if we compare them to Chase, Capital One, and Citi, American Express has the best and the most out of all those other banks. Now, there are probably some people who look at transfer bonuses and don't think much of them, but I always take advantage of these transfer bonuses. And when I actually think about like the last year of bookings that I've made, off the top of my head, I can only really think of one booking that I took advantage of that wasn't connected to some type of transfer bonus. When I flew with ANA in first class earlier this year, that was me taking advantage of a transfer bonus over to Virgin Atlantic. When I flew on American Airlines first class transcontinental, that was me taking advantage of a transfer bonus over to British Airways. I have a flight coming home from France where I took advantage of a transfer bonus over to the Flying Blue program. These transfer bonuses can save you so many points when you're getting yourself 15, 25, sometimes even 30% as a transfer bonuses to these airline programs. It's almost like buying these miles at close to 0.7 cents per point, which I think is an absolute steal. So when I am transferring my points, I'm always seeking for a transfer bonus so I can have additional points to be able to save for a future deal. For this reason, I would rather have American Express membership reward points as compared to Capital One Venture Miles, because when the time does arise for me to need these points and get myself a bonus, chances are American Express is going to be there for the win. I used to value venture miles at a higher rate before the Turkish Airlines Miles and Smiles program did a big devaluation, because now I look at that program and think to myself, I'm only really going to use it to fly over to Istanbul, so if I want to revisit Istanbul, I could see value there. But other than that, now I just see this program as having many of the similar transfer partners as the other programs, but just not being as frequent to when it comes to the transfer bonuses, and then also not earning as many points as I could with the American Express Gold Card. Now I know that someone probably wonders, well, how much more do you value your membership reward points over your venture miles? And if I'm being completely honest, I haven't calculated that. I just know that if I happen to need to transfer either my membership reward points or my venture miles to a program and there isn't a transfer bonus, I'm going to be transferring my venture miles before I transfer my membership reward points. And one of the biggest reasons why I don't want to cancel the American Express Gold Card is because I know that I'm going to want to reapply for it again in the future. I really like this card, so if I did happen to cancel it and I needed to reapply, I wouldn't be entitled to a welcome offer, which would end up just adding a new line of credit for a card that I already had, which kind of just is annoying to me. So to sum up this video, I guess I'm at a place where I have my American Express Gold Card, but I'm spending more in annual fees than I would like to with my cards, and I do find the credits, especially with the Grubhub credit, to be more annoying and with a service that I wouldn't normally use if I didn't happen to have this card. But I do still see the value of having the gold card because of the points that I'm earning from it, and then also the fact that I can't find a full replacement for the card that I find to be as convenient, but also give me the same level of value of earnings. Going over my personal finances and evaluating the different annual fee cards that I have is what put me in the place of questioning whether or not I should keep my American Express Gold card. Now, I haven't canceled the card just yet, but it is interesting that a year ago, I would have never thought that I would be canceling my American Express Gold card. But as time has moved on, what I've realized is that if any card has an annual fee, you should always be evaluating that card and seeing whether or not it does make sense to keep moving forward. Because unless it is a no annual fee card, no card should be off the chopping block. But hopefully you enjoy this video. Let me know in the comment section down below. Is there anyone else who's contemplating about getting rid of their gold card, or do you see it as being the best card in your wallet and there's no way you get rid of it? Now, if you haven't been interested in any cards, please check out my referral links in the description box down below. If you do decide to use it, it does really help out the channel, and I'll be incredibly thankful for your support. And if you happen to really like this video, do me a favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this video, and have a beautiful rest of your week.